Good afternoon, folks. This is Bob Sullivan again, and I am with you at this manager's session. And I had an opportunity to introduce each of the members of the board of directors for American Assets, and I could have done that certainly by way of just handing out the vitas, the bios of each one, and you could read them. But I think it's more important to get a sense of each of the individuals on the board for American Assets. I think we have a spectacular board, and I think you know that the board of publicly traded companies are made up of primarily of independent directors. We mean directors that have no management affiliation with the company, the independent part, and very often also there can be a board member, and especially a chairman, who is not independent. That's very typical. But I thought it would be worthwhile for you to get a sense of the folks that really represent the shareholders of American Assets and their interests, and really work with the management team and have been thrilled with the company ever since its founding. So today, I am an independent director. We have Nina Tran, Joy Schaefer, and Tom Olinger that are the three other independent directors. And I've asked each one to give a quick introduction of themselves. And then right after this, I'm going to have a very short general discussion of what the issues are, what we do as a board of directors. So I'm going to begin with Nina.
Hi everyone, my name is Nina Tran. I joined the AAT board last year, about June of 2021, and it's been a great experience for me. I currently am the CFO at a company called Picasso, which is a tech-enabled marketplace for second home co-ownership. And prior to that, I spent close to 30 years in the finance and real estate industry in different sectors, multifamily, single-family rental, industrial, all sorts of different real estate sectors. And I also currently sit on another public board based in Denver, another REIT, and I sit on a nonprofit organizations board as well. So I'm very happy to be part of AAT's board.
Next is Joy Schaefer.
Hello, I'm Joy Schaefer. I've been on the board now for 3 years. My background is all about financial services, from the operations to the accounting to the financial side of banking, auto finance, mortgage finance. Most recently, I did 10 years with a private equity firm in New York, where I was operating partner for 2 real estate companies, one of which has since IPO'd, and the other was in environmental services, both real estate companies. I am thrilled to be on this board with this caliber of board member.
Great. Thank you, Joy. And then Tom.
Hi, hello everyone. Name's Tom Olinger. I'm from the Bay Area. I've been on the board of AAT since the IPO back in 2011. I was formerly the CFO of Prologis, which is a global logistics REIT. I spent 15 years there, and prior to that I was at Oracle Corporation. So I come from a background of mostly real estate with a little bit of technology.
You have the view of all of it. Is Tom in the picture?
Yes.
So what I'd like to put out as a question to the independent directors: things are changing. The environment is becoming a very structured environment, and for those of you who have any background in public companies, you'll know that going back really about 35 years, things began to change with the creation of organizations and watchdog groups looking at the performance of boards, of public boards, to make sure that they were following rules and regulations, especially financials. And there was a group created called because the acronym ISS, Institutional Shareholder Services, that started out, I think, in 1985 or so, but it's been around quite some time. But its purpose was, again, providing assurance to shareholders that rules and regulations and the data, the financials were all in line with the way they should be. But over time, rules and regulations have continued to pile up, and it becomes much more difficult. Part of the role of the board is also looking at these rules and regulations and outside auditors to make sure that we make sure on behalf of our shareholders that we are performing the way we should perform. So one of the areas, and I'll pose this as a question to the other directors, deals with the areas of the environment. And there is an initiative that goes also by the acronym ESG. I think it is environmental, social, and governance, right? And this was on the radar a few years ago. It's more than on the radar right now, and we put time into it, and the company puts time into it. And I think for all of the managers and people that are really in the front lines, this will be an important initiative. And I will leave it open to the other members, other independent directors, in terms of what this really means. But it's going to be something you'll be hearing a lot about also. So I don't know if you have any comments, Tom.
Well, I guess I would start, and one, I think ESG, environmental social governance, is all of our responsibilities. So whether as a member of the board, a member of management, running our operations, running our real estate like you all do, I think it's all of our responsibility, and we're going to be asked, all of us are going to be asked to do things around this. I think it's going to be challenging as we navigate, the new rules and regulations. But I do think it presents a huge opportunity for us, because I think one of the key advantages of this company is well, number one, it's people, it's creativity. It's been around a long time, led by Ernest. We've seen a lot of different environments, but I think our size gives us a unique advantage to be nimble, putting the customer first, putting our tenants first, and finding a way that while this is a regulatory requirement that's going to come upon us, I think we can turn this into a real competitive advantage for us. I really think I do, just because how we approach it.
We want to be able to support AAT as the company focuses and moves forward on all of the initiatives around ESG.
So this is one of the topics that it will be a team approach, and so even though we talk about it, and part of our responsibility is also to make sure that we're certainly abiding by the rules, but in many cases, I think with enthusiasm, we'd like to be pioneers. We'd like to be ahead of the game and not just at the end. Second thing, just to note, the board is very sensitive to the social, environmental aspects, and so we're all aware of this, and I know all of you are aware of this, that the environment, the economic environment with inflation, we're very sensitive to it. It's not something that we ignore, or that any of the leadership in the company ignores. It's very important. We have conversations about it because we don't want inflation to ever be a reason that we basically begin to lose the best and the brightest in the company. And so we have conversations about this, and I must say the management leadership of American Assets also is really at the forefront in making sure inflation should not be something that causes us to begin to lose really, really good people. One final point, and then I'm going to turn this back to the audience, and that is there have been studies done in terms of why folks after the pandemic has been a really challenging period for everybody. It's not just with American. Everyone has been challenged by COVID and the pandemic. And we're now hopefully over the hump, and we're really beginning to think about going back to whatever a normal environment might be. And so the studies that have been done have looked at why individuals may have chosen not to go back and what reasons they have and so forth. And there are normal reasons that you expect. One can be the salary scales and so forth. You know that. The other can be the cultural and kind of social dimensions you feel at home. And we're hoping, for example, at American Assets that, we really believe this, that there is a culture developed that really is embracing to the community, and one that really makes folks feel that this is a place that you want to be. And then the third area, which is very, very important, and that is, are folks appreciated for what they do? Is there a sense that there is recognition for the great jobs that individuals do for their work? And we believe, and what we hear from senior management is that they consistently and constantly give credit to the workforce at American Assets for how the company meets its expectations and its goals and its performance. So I think a message, from all of us, certainly the independent directors, is that we hear that you are a key element in the success of this company, and we applaud you for all that you do for American Assets.